Tonight, we're going to take an in-depth look at the case of the missing Utah National Guardsman Matthew Johnson. Involved in that would be Johnson's wife, Jennifer Gledhill, who is incarcerated right now on charges related to his death. But it's not just Jennifer here that is involved in this conversation. Jennifer's parents were also targets of a police investigation. Those two, however, have not been formally charged. The initial charges put forth were obstruction regarding the incident involving Matthew Johnson. So they're still searching for Matthew Johnson. They don't know where his body is. It's been at least a few weeks, if not almost a month, since anyone had seen or heard from Matthew Johnson. Earlier today, I spoke with Matthew Johnson's ex-wife about the Matthew Johnson that she knew, along with her feelings on this case. When was the last time you had any contact with Matt?
2014.
And did you have any contact with Jennifer? Have you ever met her?
I haven't. I know of her through mutual friends, but I don't know her. I don't know her. And it's okay. It's been fine. I was actually so thankful that Matt finally met Jen. I was like, because Matt had someone else to focus on 100%. He had a few other girls here and there, but like Jen was the one. Jen was the one that was keeping him, I think, where he needed to be. So I was very thankful that Jen came into his life, because it kind of gave us that separation that we desperately needed to be apart from each other. And he could carry on with his life. And he had 3 beautiful kids, and I'm so happy for him. Like through the grapevine, we know what's going on in each other's life, but we haven't had direct conversation. Does that make sense? Just through friends and all of that. So Matt is probably the best Marine special ops. He's probably the best you'll ever find. He is very devoted. He's dedicated. He's a hard worker. He is fantastic in leading a team and having that control over situations. For us, in the civilian world, the control and how he thought things needed to be done and his behaviors they just weren't appropriate for the civilian world. I don't know how else to word it.
How did you hear about Matthew's death or the alleged murder of your ex-husband?
TikTok.
What was your reaction when you heard about Jennifer's involvement in this?
Shocked. First, I was shocked. Then I thought, there's no way. Matt probably just disappeared. He was probably just tired of his life. He wanted to run away. That was my first initial thought. And then I called my dad and I said, now I'm worried, because I don't know if he's really gone. And through Matt and I's past, I can see him pulling a stunt like that, disappearing, because that has been my experience. He leaves, comes back, causes chaos. That's just been my experience. So as it's now progressed to the point that it has, with everybody else that's involved, I now really believe that he's not with us anymore. And it's sad. It's still sad. He was, a part of our life for 12 years. That's sad. He'll always be a part of my history and my boys' history. And it's just sad. I don't know. I feel so bad for his kids. That's the worst part out of everything. By far the worst.
You wrote to me in the long version of what you shared, his wife and family have experienced years of chaos, lies, theft, and instability as Matt struggled to maintain a balance between his 2 worlds. How much did he struggle with separating one versus the other?
A lot. He struggled a lot. I think with every deployment and every training and everything, he just drank a little bit more. He thought that he was untouchable. He would show up at homes that I had and we would get in an argument, and the cops would be called, and the cops would take his side because I have to be the crazy one. Like, they would ask me to leave the home because I had family and friends and he didn't, and it's not fair that he should have to leave when he didn't even live at these homes. These were my homes I ran businesses out of. Like, these were my places. But so he just thought he could never get in trouble. Jennifer made a comment. I don't remember what article it was, but I read that they got in an argument and then drank a bunch of whiskey. And that, I don't know, that when I read that, I was like, that is Matt's MO. That's what he does. He'll get in an argument. Wasn't ever whiskey with us, but we'd get in an argument and he'd bring a bottle of wine into the living room or wherever and just say, if we're done, we're just going to drink. We're just going to drink all night. We can be as honest as we want with each other. That's what's going to happen. And I'm like, alcohol never made a situation better. And we're already angry. Like, I'm not about to drink, but that was his way of, I don't know, dealing with life. He just wanted to drink, and then he made bad decisions.
Crystal, Jennifer mentioned that part, and then she mentioned that Matt either hit her or there was violence afterwards.
Yeah.
Does that part ring true with you and your experience with Matt?
Yes, I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What was it like for you to read some of those articles about Jennifer's account that day? And obviously that's Jennifer's account, and then it's written by an officer. So it's kind of both, right? It's Jennifer tells officers this, then officer writes report. How did you feel reading that? Was that flashbacks for you? Was that, I totally see that? Because hearing that a wife murders the husband, there's the ability to discount some of those things in the front half. But would you say that some of those were very, very accurate based on your experiences?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, she was spot on with lots of his behavior. I mean, and those are just the big things. I mean, she's just talking about the big things. She hasn't even talked about the little things, the money missing from the account, or hiding debit cards, or taking you off accounts. Like, he does so many other things that it's hard to, like, she's just talking about the big stuff. And there's a lot of little stuff that just all adds up, and it is scary. It's hard to get away from those relationships. It's hard to wrap your head around it when you're so deep in it. You don't know if what you're doing is right. Are you just being a good wife, or is this person being a bad husband? You don't know where your place is anymore. You lose sense of reality and what's fair and what's not. And, we didn't have kids, but we had a family still, right? So, like, it was a whole thing. We had vehicles, we had a whole life. So yeah, it was definitely, I felt validated, kind of like, oh, someone else knows what I went through. But then I was sad because I just really, truly hoped that all of the things that Matt and I went through, I hoped that they were like learning experiences for him, that he would learn that you can't treat people this way. And these behaviors are not acceptable in the civilian world. You can't do these things. And I hoped and hoped that he would fix that, and when all that came out, I'm like, he didn't change. He didn't change. He carried on the same behaviors, and now there's children involved, which is devastating.
The parents' involvement and Jennifer's involvement, how have you processed kind of that whole thing about what's come out over the last week or so about that family involvement pertaining to Matt's death?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I wonder what were all of the little things that he had done to make the parents so angry and not like him so much that they were willing to stand up and protect their daughter. Because my parents, even though he did all the things he did, my parents wouldn't help me. My parents wouldn't be involved or help me do any of that. That was a lot. That was a lot. I don't think it's fair. I think there's a million other ways to handle things. I think that I think that they didn't think it through, obviously, and the consequences for those kids and Matt's friends and Matt's family that he has, this this is a little trickle effect that's affecting everybody in big and small ways, like it's devastating that people can think that removing another person and they feel entitled that they get to choose to remove someone from this earth. That is, it's disgusting, honestly.
You said how this affects everybody. How does this affect you and your involvement in Matt's life?
Um, I feel like, I don't know, it's bringing up all the things from the past, right? Um, it you move forward and you get away from your exes for a reason and you move on with your life and you try and process everything and you just, for me, I hope the best for him. I hope he's learned. He was young. Deployments are hard on people. I understand that. Um, but to hear maybe he didn't change, all of that's kind of disappointing. Um, and I don't know. It's like, I guess it's a weird kind of maybe closure with Matt and I's story, but it's also not closure because it would have been nice in 10 years to like hear from Matt that he is good, that things, I don't know, that things turned out different. And I don't know. I don't feel like he got a chance to right his wrongs. That's how I feel, pretty much.